Okay. So from the group meet that we sent, your data set should be something like this, like from the MLB. Hopefully you guys saved it. Whenever you get a data set, whether I think when I sent it, it should be a CSV. If not, whenever you use a data set, it should always be saved as a CSV. That's just how we have to use it in R. Um, so to import a data set, there's two ways you could do it. One way is you click files, and there should be a way to like you're able to entertain and download what you want to download from there. How I'm going to do it is click from text, which is read R, click browse, then find where what you called it. So I believe I called it MLB 2022, and like you see, it's .csv. Then you want to click import, and then your data set is right here. It should open up. It's also right here. That way, when you click it, it opens up. Is anybody there? Okay. You guys aren't there? All right. Does anybody need help downloading it or getting it pulled up?
Here, it just goes in and it goes to this area. That's all right. Because then you can say that there. And you have to say this. Yeah. And also make you have. Yeah. Here, I think that the CM. Yeah. So. Did you save it to your data set? I don't think it's letting you right now.
So if you were gonna download a CSV, which is what Ethan sent it as, which is the easiest way to kind of download data, you would save it as you would download that as readr, because readr text is a CSV file. If you were downloading it straight from Excel, it would then be from Excel file.
I already saved it as a CSV. So did you try it? Yeah, I already tried that. And then put that. Yeah. You know where you save it. I guess we could try saving it.
So you must have it saved maybe as an Excel file. So then you're just gonna want to make sure it's saved as a CSV.
That's what I had.
Click that real quick. Change that to a change that to swing. I'm a simple share. Save that.
Got it.
And then try that.
But yeah,
it should. You shouldn't be having a problem where it's taking that long to download it. If that's the case, maybe try closing R and just reopening it. So that's the strategy.
Everyone's here.
Yes. No, yeah, you're good. So basically all we did was download our studio. Are you able to show you did that? Here, and I want to type down it's gonna be a little bit of a slow meeting, but everyone's gonna have problems at some point. So that's kind of why they might going slow. And the slower we go, the easier you'll understand it.
Then our studio should show up with brownies and it's the best. So make sure it's the one that's .csv. Our studios.
Yeah, I keep that there.
Yeah. What where I had it down was the CSV.
Yeah, I changed it to.
Once I changed it to the CSV, it was.
Got it. It just not really. At least.
Either did. You ever take the sheet? Yeah, once I'm number. You always use I don't know. Yes, like, yeah, that's. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a try. I was like, I wasn't sure if that was just like the gap in the model. Yeah, yeah. Our studio, every time we put that, they don't see us. Just trying to make sure everyone's stuff to this, and then you know how to do it. It's R. I have, ours together. Yeah, so, yep. Click the green forwards. Are you still there?
The comics stuff? No, not yet. I tried to display.
Or, yeah, text.
Did that still not work? I got a dip there.
Clicking that still doesn't work for you? Try it. Your computer also.
No, it's in there.
And then just.
Maybe try from Excel.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like our studio, data set from Excel. Because eventually, like, that's the easiest way that I import data.
Yeah.
You can do it from over here too. These should be your files here. Like, can you save that to a file on your desktop? And then you will go back to
The file is taken to it's in my download.
Yeah. Is everybody or is raise of hands who's up to like this screen right here? All right. All right. While Brett and Gabe keep helping you guys, I'm gonna keep going. So I saw for some people only this tab was open. So you could click R script and that opens up what you want to type. So like I mentioned, you have this data set. What you always want to do, if you've never used RStudio before, click install packages or install dot packages and the parentheses. Like you saw, they'll sometimes like they'll show you what you're typing out. So for first, we're gonna put Ggplot. I'm not gonna click it because I've already had it downloaded, but you want to click run. So if you do that, that'll run for you.
I think you must have really nice service. What are you on?
So after you click run and install that, I'll click install packages again. And then the next thing you want to type out is Tidyverse. Same thing, and then just click run. You'll see at the end of the meeting. Yeah. Also a helpful note is I'm not sure how it is in other coding languages. So if you put like a hashtag or the £, that doesn't do what like you tell it to do in the code. So you could put like installing packages. If you run it, it's just giving you a note. So that way, like if you save it and come back to it, you're able to like leave a comment or a note for what you want to do.
So basically I don't know who asked about what Tidyverse was. Basically, Ggplot is like the biggest package that we're going to use in here for data visualization to make those like images that you would be able to like send to like social media and posts and stuff like that. Tidyverse is for data configuration. So kind of like the way you have your data, but like it's kind of editing your data to then be able to create different visualizations or analysis.
So after you have that downloaded, what you always want to do is click library, and then you're gonna put the same thing, ggplot 2, it doesn't matter, and then library tidyverse. So you'll click ggplot, you'll click run, and then library tidyverse. Once you download install packages of that package, you won't have to do that each time, but you'll have to do this part each time. You'll always have to do library ggplot library tidyverse. All right.
Quotes around the library section.
Nope. So once for library, you don't need quotes. You'll need quotes for installing packages because sometimes when you put it in quotes, or once sometimes when you install packages, you could download it from the web. So that's why you'll always have it in quotes. But for library, you don't have to put that in quotes because it already recognizes what you've already downloaded. So after you have that, we're able to start. After you click ggplot and tidyverse, some stuff will come down here. That just means that it was able to download and able to install everything. So we're gonna go ahead and get started into our code. So whenever we want to like start off with like we're gonna start off with like a ggplot.
A lot of the errors that you get sometimes is just because you type something wrong, or and if that is the case, a lot of the time, if you do get an error message and you throw that error message into Google, Google is the best friend when it comes to like data and coding and stuff like that. It tells you everything.
Yeah. And for R, just to give it a heads up, it isn't space sensitive, but it is case sensitive. So putting tidyverse with a T, a capital T, will make a difference and it won't work. So whatever it does matter how you type it. So going back to the ggplot, so we're gonna start off with data. And then for data equals, you always want to put the data frame that you're using it from. So MLB 2022, we're using it from here. So click that right there. Or you could just type it out as well. And then you want to put a comma and then click the enter or return to go to the next line. That way you don't have a line of code that just goes down and down forever. That way you're able to see what you're typing out. So data equals MLB 2022, comma, and then mapping equals AES, which kind of just shows you how you're going to map everything. And then, so we want to have an X variable and a Y variable. So we're going to do X equals hits, but in our data set, hits is H. So you want to make sure it's just H, comma, enter, Y equals, and then for our Y, we're going to do RBI. So that is what you should have. It just kind of sets the benchmark or the set line for how we're going to be preparing and setting up. So does anybody have this screen? All right, you guys have it. All right. Does anybody else need help getting to this part? Okay. I'm gonna keep going for the people who are still like up to that point. So for our graph, the best thing that we want to do is kind of create like a uh a point or like a scatter plot. So you want to click plus sign and then enter. And then once you type in geom, like how it shows you, like how I was doing for mapping equals, and it kind of like gives you suggestions on what you want to do. This kind of just shows you all the different types of graphs you're able to end up coming up with. Like you could see it, you could create a box plot. Um, let's see, a histogram, all these different types of graphs that you're able to create. But after you put geom, put the underscore point, and then let's run that. So after running that, you should have all these different points on the graph.
Ethan, I think on the top, some of you are having a problem because that could on some of them it's Ggplot 2 that it can see on the top two. And that's how I fixed some of them. So if yours isn't working, try that. I don't think you imported the data correctly, Alex, because right now it's showing up. No, that one should be.
All right. Is anybody up to this point? All right, you guys rolling. All right. So let's. So we have two variables. We'll have the hits on the x-axis and RBIs on the y-axis. So to create a third variable, we're able to click comma after RBI. And let's say we want to label our points. We're able to hit comma, label equals, and then you want to label the team. So click TM. Oh, there it is. And then you're able to color the points in by doing the same thing. And we're going to do like batting age. So here's our plot now. So now instead of it all just being dark points, now you have some blue. So the older your team's lineups were, the lighter it is. All right, so now we want to label our points for the teams. So you want to do the same thing like we did over here. Want to do a plus sign, geom, and then text. That allows us to put text on the line. So this is what our graph would look like now. Obviously, that's a very clustered. So to end up fixing that, you could do enter. You're able to type into the parentheses for like a geom point, a geom text. So yeah.
So for everyone having a problem, kind of if it says like their ggplot's not working, the biggest problem is that so you ran this install packages, which is great. You'll never have to do that again because once it's on your computer, it's on your computer. But some of you kind of missed the step of like having to say library. That's gonna be something that every time you log on, that should be your first step is to call those packages like into play that you can use them. And once you do that, it then allows you to use the functions within that package. So if you are having that problem, that's the fix for that. Sorry.
Very good. So like I was mentioning, you're able to type into the parentheses, like we're able to type into geom point. But with this all being clustered, we want the team names to be like very close to the point as possible. So to do that, you could type in hjust equals and then put a 0. I don't know why I showed up. So click hjust 0, comma. and then vertical just 0. And then run. So it's a little better. If you click zoom, that zooms into the graph. So obviously once you zoom into a graph, it should look a little bit cleaner. It doesn't look as scattered or as clustered, I should say. All right, who's up to this point? All right, you guys will keep going. You guys are good. You guys are good. All right.
I'm gonna ask you a question. I don't want to zoom back out.
Zoom back out. Yeah, just click X. Yeah, so once you click zoom, that just opens up a new window of something else. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about deleting all of your code or whatnot. No, you're good. So to keep going, like I mentioned, to go on to the next line, you want to click a plus sign. So let's say we want to see like the mean or the average for hits and for RBIs. So to do that, you want to click, like I mentioned, plus, and what you could do is geom underscore, and let's do H line, so horizontal line. So for your horizontal line, you want to do the y-intercept equals mean. And then after you click that, you should have your parentheses right here. And then click MLB 2022 from your data set. Then you want to do a money sign. And then you want to click RBI. Plus sign, same thing. But this time you want to do a vertical line. And this time you want to do x-intercept equals mean. You want to come out of your data set, money sign, and hits right there. Hopefully that works. And there you go. You want to zoom back in, which is perfect. From the data set, it does have the league average. And as you can see, it has the mean right on the league average right there. Did everybody get that? Yeah. Yeah, so definitely don't want to be in the bottom left. So unfortunate for the A's. All right. Am I good to keep going? All right. So another plus sign. Yeah.
We did like, point, and then like the blank parentheses.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do parentheses.
So for that, it's just you're just putting the points on. You could change the color of the points, which we did right here. We could have put that in the geom point. I just put it on that line of code right there. So there's gonna be some things that you put in, like especially on Ggplot, that the parentheses are just gonna be there. Make sure they're closed because let's say right here you have one parenthesis. Well, it's already up right now, but if you had one parenthesis before that point, that wouldn't have loaded. And it'll showcase like parenthesis right there. It's telling you that it's closing that one, and now you need a second one to close that one. So add a plus sign, and to give it like every plot or every graph that you make, you want to give it a title and label the X and Y axis. So to do that, you want to type in labs, and then you, like I said, you could click it right there. And then type out title equals. And then for this, you want to put it in parentheses because this is what you're calling it. So we can just call it MLB teams hits versus RBIs. Click run. That's. All right, I'll come back to that later. So after doing that, after the parentheses, you want to put a comma. X equals. So what we want to call right here, so we'll call that hits. Like I mentioned, you want to put it in the parentheses because that's what you're labeling as. Oh, excuse me. Or quotes, I apologize. Yeah. Put that in quotes. Comma. Same thing, Y equals parenthesis quotes RBIs. So rather than it being RBI, you'll have RBIs, and rather than it just being H, you have it as hits now. All right. Is everybody up to this point? All right.
For everyone who is struggling because it's saying that like something's not working, it could be you don't actually have the data set in here. This top right panel kind of shows what data sets you have imported. So if you see like the 31 observations of 28 variables, that means you actually like have your data imported. So in a few of your cases, there was nothing there. And that's kind of how I saw that, like, that's why you were getting errors, because when you're running this, it looks for what the data set is, and you don't have a data set there. So that could be the reason.
All right. So after that, you want to give yourself credit. So to do that, after the quotes right there, comma, go on to the next line. So we're gonna write a caption equals, and then same thing like these. You want to put it in quotes, and then this is what you want to do. Like you want to put your own name. So obviously, don't put my name. Put your own name. And then you could just put a dash like that. You could do whatever. And then you want to give credit to where you got the data from. So you could just type out data from baseball ref, obviously baseball reference. So that's right there. You could do whatever, just because you want to give yourself credit. I mean, even if you see like, if you guys follow like PFF on Twitter, like those guys will post graphs and they'll always still have their caption and they'll have like their Twitter name and all that stuff. It's just always good to give yourself credit. I mean, it's your work, so why not put your name to it? To fix this, because it looks a little funky just off to the left, you could just do plus, go over to the next theme. And with theme, you're just able to just alter whatever you want to do with like the titles and everything. So plot dot title. And for this, you want to put element text. Just. And then let's put 0.5. And now that's more towards the center. So if you want to zoom in, now here's like your final graph. That's off to the center. You have hits instead of H. You have RBIs with the S plural. You have your caption right there. You have your league averages. So obviously, a lot of hits, a lot of home RBIs, a lot of hits, not a lot of RBIs. It's pretty self-explanatory from the graph itself. All right. Does anybody else have any questions before we kind of go into the next step? No. Okay. So like Brett said, we're gonna start going into Tidyverse. Like Brett mentioned, you're able to like really manipulate the data on what you want to create. So this kind of showcases what your data frame is, which is MLB 2022. let's say you want to create a new data set. So let's just call this MLB new. So then you want to do the less than sign and then a dash. And then you want to type in MLB 2022. So you're typing in the data set or your old data set. This will be whatever it's right here. It could be MLB 2022. If you called it something else, you'd put that original set right there. After that, a shortcut is hold down Shift Command M, and that's just closing it. There's like another way to do it with like a parenthesis greater than sign and then a parentheses again, I believe. Yeah.
So a common problem that everyone's having was something happened when we imported the data set. So when you actually go to your data here, all of your headers should be like team, bat age, runs per game, games. Some of you, it says like V1, V2, and that's why when you're running it and it's looking for hits or RBIs, like those columns, it's not finding them because all of those are shown in row 1. So basically that's why when you go over to import data set, you just want to make sure that your headers are what they should be and not a made up column because it will always just make it up as V1, V2. And so that's what some of your problems have been of why it's not running kind of the way it is on the screen.
All right. So this is going to be our new data set, MLB new, MLB 2022. Then you want to click enter. And for our first, I guess, thing that we're going to use out of Tidyverse is we're going to use filter. So you click filter. And what filter does is it's pretty self-explanatory. It just filters out some of the data. So a statistic that we could use is we'll use stolen base. So you want to type in what it's categorized as. So SB. And to do something like teams with more than 75 stolen bases, those are only the teams that I want to see. You'll do the greater than sign equals 75. Click run. So everybody should have gotten like a new data set that pulls up right here. So you could click that right there. And then now it shows every team with 75 stolen bases or more. And then the league average. So it should have cut off 10 teams. Did everybody get that? All right. You could obviously do like that as well, then get less than. Then you'll have 10 teams. So it doesn't matter. So we'll go back to the original. So for like every line of code that we did with here with the plus sign, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to always do like the shift command M to go to the next line. Yeah. Yeah, that's
saying like the not finding it. Yeah. And then I try to write it like so things like this would not find function. Oh, why is doing that? Oh.
Is everyone able to do that filter step? No. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I haven't got that. Yeah.
That's when it's like
So for anyone, if that isn't working, install one more package. And that will allow you to do that Control-Shift-M thing. Install this one. Packages. TP. What was that? Do you still have that? Yeah.
DPLY. A DPLYR.
DPLYR. Yeah. So install that one and then do library for that. And then that should allow you to do that character variable. Just some shortcuts. Instead of wanting to like having to hit run every time, if you want to run a specific thing, all you have to do is just hit Control Enter on that line. That's just a faster way to not have to always go up to here and actually hit run if you don't want. Control M. And then the faster way to get this character right here, which means it puts it into a data set. So for here, like it's MLB new, you're making a new data set MLB new from MLB 2022. The way you can do that is Option or Alt on some computers, Option Alt, and then the minus sign, rather than actually having to find those symbols. And then this one right here, you make by Control-Shift-M. But on Ethan's, it looks different because he likes that. That's kind of how the old character or a new character looks. I don't know if it's old or new, but on everyone else's computer, it'll probably look like percent x greater than percent. Means the same thing.
Is everybody good to keep going? All right. So for this new data set, let's say you want to create a new column. So to do that, you want to type in mutate. Same thing. For this first part, it's whatever you want to call that new column. So I'm gonna do hits per game. So that's that. Then equals, and then this is just a simple math. You want to do hits, but you still want to type in H rather than hits because it's using the same column as before. Then that divide by symbol.
Are you showing, like when you ran that, are you showing them like what it actually told you?
Yeah, I showed it in the stolen basis. Yeah. Hits per game, H divided by G, which is games. Let's run that. MLB new. And then if I get this out of the way. So that's that new column, hits per game. Like if you saw for the MLB 2022, we didn't have that column, but now we do. So 8.7. Cleveland Guardians averaged 8.7 hits per game. So you're able to do that with whatever you would like to do. You could change it. So just whatever you type in here is going to be the new title of the column. And then this is going to be H per G. You could add, you could subtract, you could do whatever. So yeah, that's that. And then I think the last thing that we're going to do is select parentheses. So with select, it only goes what you want to see from a certain data set. So like MLB new or yeah, MLB new. Let's say we don't really care about, we don't want to know what their OPS is or their total bases. So from this data or from this code, you want to click select, and within the parentheses, you want to type in whatever you'd like to see. So you could do, you always want to have team, obviously. So TM. Let's do games or hits, games, hits per game. And as you type it out, it'll showcase, we can do total bases. I think that's, yeah, total bases. And then we'll do grounded into double plays. right there. And then run that. So for your new data set, it kind of just eliminated 22 variables and it slimmed down that data set for you. That way you don't have to scroll all the way over. And that's kind of just about that. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody need any help getting up to that point?
So once again, for anyone who is struggling with something isn't working, it's probably because if your thing looks like this, it shouldn't look like this. You don't want that. That on your screen, if you do Control-Shift-M, you want it to look like this. Or percent greater than percent. That's what, I can't type. You want yours to be percent greater than percent. So whenever Ethan has this, it's just the way his RStudio is set up. He changed that setting to be something he wanted it personally to be. Whenever you see that, it actually, you want to do that. Does that make sense? I think that's a lot of you have had that problem.
And so you don't have to keep installing packages, it's installed constantly. That's a problem. I just get a free dollar. Like, I installed it. You did, you guys. That impression in most times. Older than this, so.
Yeah.
That each time I use on this, plus I expression with resolution different. And then manage it's different symbols. I think you would change that. But it comes up and just so now. It works. But sometimes you just have to do that and then just. That was the process there. Why is it that, so 30, because we filtered out 10 teams, so if the filter stolen base is more than 75. There were 20 teams that have 40.
Anyone have any other questions? Whenever I kind of get to where we are today.
So yeah, I think that's kind of all what we have. For here, let me stop recording.
Does everyone understand like
Oh,
the
wait.
benefits to GG? Like, we're gonna be using it a lot more, because eventually we want the goal is that you guys are gonna be doing it yourselves and not